One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question, where we highlight executive leaders in college athletics. Today we have a clip from a previous episode of the One Question podcast. It is with Dr. Mónica Lebrón. She is the Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Operating Officer at Tulane. Now this clip didn't make it to the previous episode, and the only reason was because of time. This clip emphasizes something I learned from working with the Football Coaches Association called blooming where you're planted. And I think this applies to every industry and every career, to bloom where you're planted. So let's listen to what Mónica had to say on that. Now, before you went to Tulane as a deputy, you spent one season at Georgia. If you think back contextually to when you were a freshman, sophomore, junior working in college athletics while you were a student athlete, imagine at some point during that time you decided you wanted to be an athletics director. So you go through your career, you work in development, you're checking off the quote unquote boxes that need to be checked. And then this deputy role comes up. And while you're working at Georgia, there's some pretty dynamic leadership at Georgia while you were there and still is. What kind of insight did you get from the leadership at Georgia when contemplating taking the deputy athletics director role there at Tulane?
I love this question. I love that you gave me this question because it does allow me to reflect on my time at Georgia. And I have thanked them publicly, but this gives me another opportunity to do that. So when I did get the call from Troy that he wanted me to come be his deputy AD and oversee football, it was a Saturday. And so, it was something that I don't leave jobs quickly. I don't job hop. I had only been at Georgia 13 months. And so I text Greg McGarity and Carla Williams. Carla Williams was the deputy at the time at Georgia, who's obviously now the AD at Virginia. And she was overseeing football. And I texted them and I said, can I meet with you guys first thing Monday morning? And they said, sure. And I went right into Greg's office and I told them the whole story, that I got this call. And I didn't know what to do because I was committed to Georgia 100%, but they knew my aspirations to be an athletic director. And Troy was offering me the opportunity to oversee football. And I'll never forget it. They took off their Georgia hats and put on their mentor hats and said, look, we don't want you to leave. We're not going to kick you out, but we know you want to be an AD and this is the opportunity of a lifetime. So we need you to know that if you leave, we won't be mad at you. And again, this goes back to my development. I don't want to upset people. I don't want people mad at me. And they gave me that opportunity and they supported me. They said, again, if you want to stay, we want to have you here. But we will support you 100%. And at the end of the day, we brought you here to, one, unify the development team, and two, raise major gift dollars, and you did both of them. And our team that year broke fundraising records at Georgia, and now they continue. The McGill Society that we implemented as a team just reached 1,000 members. So we did that as a group and as a team, and so they're sitting there saying, you did what we asked you to do, and you'll leave us in a good place. And the last thing Greg said, and I will never forget this, he said, if you stay here and you're here 3 years, you're here 5 years, you're here 10 years, you will still be fundraising. We don't have a structure where, hey, maybe you'll get a sport here, you'll oversee this sport there, maybe down the road we'll change our structure. And the fact that he was so honest with me and so transparent, another administrator might have said, hey, if you hang tight, maybe I'll get you a sport here in a year or two. And someone might stay thinking that. But no, Greg looked me in my eye and said, this is our structure, Mónica. So again, not kicking you out, but if you want to do this, you have our 100% support. And I am indebted for life to both of those people, Greg McGarity and Carla Williams, because they supported me 100%. And now 2.5 years later, this has been the opportunity of a lifetime. It is proving to be that, and it is preparing me to be ready for that AD chair. So I want to publicly thank Greg and Carla for supporting me. I'll never forget it.
Well, if they're listening, you've definitely done that. And it is very impressive of them to say, hey, go get it. This is what you want to do. We support you. You've helped you fulfilled your purpose here at Georgia. Go fulfill your purpose there at Tulane and help out Troy with that athletics department. That is pretty impressive that they did that. Now, Monica, you mentioned two things there. I want to go back just a tad here. Now, you were dedicated to Georgia, so obviously you didn't reach out and try to get the job there at Tulane. So Troy called you on a Saturday, random call. Hey, I imagine, did you know him before type thing, and said, hey, I had this position and I want to bring you in?
Well, so the part I did leave out, which I do tend to talk about on panels and whatnot, but recordings, I don't know. But so I actually got a call earlier that week. I got a call 6 days before from a search firm asking if I wanted to get involved in the position. And I said no. I had only been at Georgia 13 months, and I just couldn't do it. So I actually didn't talk to anyone about it. I said no and walked away. And so it did get back to him. And so he called me directly 6 days later and said, you know, the job is yours. I want you here. I had moderated a panel that he was on at Cal's that fall of 15. And so he called directly and said, the job's yours and you'll oversee football. And that happened to be a Saturday. So I did tell Greg that entire story too. And I said, hey guys, they called. I didn't want it. I walked away. I wasn't going to leave Georgia, but he's come back and this is what he's offered. And so I here I am. I never thought in a million years I would come, but here I am.
I'll admit I've become much more impressed as we've talked, right? Not that I wasn't impressed initially, but much more impressed as we talked, because what you just said was that you weren't looking, you didn't look, you're a bloom where you planted type person, and you turned down and, offer to get involved. And then you got the call, went to your mentors, went to your boss at the time and got the job. What's even more impressive is you went from zero sports oversight to overseeing football and a number of other sports in the deputy role. It's like zero to leadership almost immediately. Okay, now I'm overseeing these people who probably have way more experience dealing with people. That is very impressive, Monica, in terms of how your career has developed.
Thank you. I've been blessed with a lot of great leaders and mentors around me to support me. And like I said, when I don't know something or when I haven't handled a situation, I'm literally, my office is next door to Troy's, and I can just walk in and ask him a question, or I can call Ross Bjork and say, hey, how would you handle this? Sandy Barber is a mentor of mine. All these people that have nurtured me throughout my career, it doesn't go away when you leave them. It lasts, hopefully, if you've nurtured the relationship back, it lasts forever. So I am unbelievably blessed that I have these people in my camp that do want to see me do well and are willing to support me, and hopefully I'm making them proud.
That was Dr. Mónica Lebrón. She is the Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Operating Officer at Tulane University. And of course, this is Ty Brown with one question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.